like, it was such a sick, weird excuse that I just care about everybody so much, so I'm going to make fun of people because I want them to be more healthy. Yeah, like, that's you can take this exact thing and transfer it over to a different situation, and it becomes fucking disgusting.
Yeah, that's like the Christians. We were just watching a video of the Christians. Was, by the way, Jacqueline, if she happens to pop in, we're coming after you. But
no, I like her.
We're gonna get you. But the Christians saying that, you know, well, we care so much about the homosexuals. We love them so much, the gay community, that we just want them to get in heaven. By the way, they're going to fucking hell if they don't change their nature to suit us. No judgment.
They're not judging anybody.
We're gonna get them, so we'll hold off on that for now.
So
but
yeah, you could transfer this kind of point to a different subject matter, and it becomes
exactly. Yeah, I get that. It's kind of a betrayal on a certain level.
Yeah.
But what I was saying is that if you want to get angry, why don't you direct that anger towards, you know, what actually matters, what actually counts. Greta Thunberg is just a single 17-year-old.
Just a voice.
For God's sake, she's Swedish.
One voice in millions, you know?
Like, from Sweden. But you have this environmental crisis, and not only do you have the climate change front, wherein it is in fact scientifically evidenced that we are in trouble, that our natural environment is in danger.
Yeah,
like on part due to us, that we can in fact alter it by changing our ways, by fixing our addictions and you know, breaking the habits that we've had for so long, and thereby move forward as a species, wherein we have the front of the psychological crisis, where we're just so distracted, so dissuaded, so disillusioned, so out of our fucking minds that we can't even see straight anymore. We can move beyond that, man. We can fucking fix together. We can break our habits and move forward together.
Like real progress.
Right now. Real progress.
Instead of the fake progress that people...
Yeah.
And including us. I mean, we're not in any way separate from, you know, anything that's happening.
We're in this together.
But
we're in the same boat.
Like you described
earlier. We're in the same zero emissions boat owned by the Rothschilds.
Like you described earlier, that fake progress where you keep going forward and back and then forward and back. Like, yeah, you're right. If you're going to be mad, then be mad at, you know, people. Like, we live near Lake Erie. Like, people dump, you know, companies are allowed to just dump whatever the hell they want, as long as it's under a certain amount or whatever. Like, the lake is so disgusting now, you can't even swim in it. I mean, be mad at that.
Yeah,
instead of one girl who's like, maybe we should fix that.
You don't have to be mad at people either. There is no human enemy here. Be mad at the fucking concepts. Be mad at the habits. Be mad at your fucking self for being stuck in those ways. And break the chain. Fight the real enemy. Wake the fuck up, man. And stop being woke. You know? Stop being woke and start being real. Alright, let's handle this.
Let's see. Backstory, Mom.
And she stopped flying, which means she couldn't perform the way she used to. Do you sometimes feel bad that she can't perform, or are you more excited that she's not part of, I guess, polluting the planet?
I don't care, honestly, about how she performs. She's doing musicals now, so I mean, she had to change career, but it wasn't that big.
And the planet is the most important thing for you.
Yeah, I mean, for all of us, I think
right.
it should be.
It really should be.
It's so simple.
Why do you think young people are so focused on climate change now? There's a definite disconnect between older generations and younger generations when talking about the climate. Why do you think that is?
I mean, I think it is because we, in a way, feel like it is more a direct threat. Others feel like I won't be alive then anyway, so screw it. But we actually know that these consequences will face us during our lifetime, and it is already happening now, and it will get worse. And
that's the perfect value right there to raise, is that yes, they feel as though they're in immediate danger. They have every fucking right to, and they very well should. Like, this is a good thing that they feel that way. You people talking about, like, fucking, what's her name, douchebag Sydney something Watson gonna talk about scaring kids isn't cool. It kind of is. It's kind of very cool. These kids are actually waking up. They're taking responsibility.
There's obviously a difference between, you know, fear-mongering and trying to voice your concern and need and want for progress.
This is kind of a dissuasion tactic.
Well,
that we're gonna feel as though anything that presents fears to us obviously must be a sham, a scam, a fear-mongering charade, because we're so used to fucking seeing that.
I don't know, man. I think it goes a little bit deeper than that. I think that one of the big issues right now that's affecting younger people is this, like, crazy outbreak of anxiety. I think it has a lot to do with social media affecting younger kids while they're still developing, and it freaks me out a little bit. I've read up on that a little bit in one of the books. I wish I could remember the name of it.
This is to be expected. This is all a part of the progress that we are in fact making, the development that's transpiring with the planet.
I think that they're missing is that instead of going around and using your little anxiety diagnosis as a means for everybody around you to have to change, or the environment itself to have to change, you don't have to change, and you can be in a constant state and just say, well, I have anxiety, so everything, this whole environment has to change to suit me. But anxiety, it serves a purpose.
Exactly.
It's a normal thing to feel that because it's useful, and in your brain, like, we need that instinctually. Way back when, eons ago, when we were still, you know, crawling around in caves and killing fucking jaguars and shit, I don't know, that anxiety was what kept you alive. And so it's like, it's actually necessary for our survival.
And so a few points I want to hit there real quick. A, the excuse and the escape mentality, as I spoke to before, it would seem that people getting addicted, having, again, another complex, this anxiety complex, wherein they're excused and escape. They have the excuse and escape in play, that value in play, because they use the anxiety to excuse them, escape their responsibility. And it would seem, essentially, that what's happening with the newer generations in this regard is they're actually becoming addicted to being stuck in one position. They're addicted to not making progress, to keep everything the same, stick to their guns mentality again.
What do you think happens if you say, well, I have anxiety and depression? So you start there, and I think it's totally unconscious too, which is another thing I want to make very clear. But okay, so you start here and you say, well, I have anxiety and depression, and then boom, you get some kind of therapist or professional to actually diagnose you on paper with that. So you have your little prescription paper, and you can wave it around to anybody that makes you feel uncomfortable, or ever, you know, any kind of stress or discomfort. And, like, imagine for a moment, if you will, what if everybody in the world never had to adapt? Never to anything, to their life in a daily sense, where you're just going to school and or work, in their life in a grander sense, where it's too stressful to, you know, look for a career or make a family or whatever the things that people are doing. What would that world look like? That would be a fucked up world.
And that's what we're seeing. That's what's happening.
It's happening. It absolutely is.
I mean, the anxiety thing, that's a symptom of that impulse. Like, I've spoken to the Kundalini impulse, and we're going to continue. We're going to make that fucking course immediately after this for my dude, my new student. I'm sorry, I actually forgot what you called yourself because I haven't seen you in so long, but I talked to him on the I think his name is Shaban. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but we're going to continue that course. Now, this is to be regarded as a symptom of that. And again, the Kundalini impulse awakening, that flow throughout your body, opening up the engines, the chakras in your system, clearing that out, that's not it isn't. It seems like it's a superpower, like a supercharge, like excelling, but it's not. It's getting back to normal. It's getting back to essential. It's getting back to your natural state of openness, of flow, and that's what's happening with the entire world, the whole of humanity. That Kundalini is awakening. We're reaching that point of development. That's the cycle that we're getting to. And so yes, it has been expected for decades now that this anxiety is going to happen. Yeah, exactly. And Drew Vlo is a big part of getting this going.
Or labor pains is, I think, how he described it, the birth of a new age.
And that's what is happening. We're trying to get back. Our spirit is crying out. Our soul is crying out to get back to nature and to return. And because we're separated from it, as 434 had mentioned, that we're losing our connection to nature.
You can't even look at the stars. I mean,
and that anxiety is a very useful energy.
Tool.
That's
it's
what
a fucking tool.
That's what powers it. That's what gives you.
And it's not just anxiety, sadness. That kind of thing.
It's because we're refusing it.
All
it's
of your
because
feelings.
people are refusing it, trying to lock it off, trying to lock that impulse out. And why? Because we're afraid of it. It's an enormous change, and we are afraid of making that transition. But I can speak on behalf of myself and my beautiful partner, Sweetie Cheeks, in saying that when you do unlock that energy, you don't have to be afraid of that change. It's something amazing that you can
Maybe
move on
that's all it is, just the fear of change. Because all those feelings that, you hear people talk about, oh, I'm depressed, I'm sad, I'm anxious, oh, I'm so anxious and uncomfortable. Like, that's your brain telling you that that's an issue, so hop in there and deal with it.
Something is off. That's a prompt.
Right. So hop in there and deal with it, but instead of dealing with it or adapting, it's like that's too much effort, maybe?
Well, they're trying to block it out. They're trying to fight it off, trying to medicate it, and society's trying to push the idea of medicating it. It's even more. It's a primal fear response in the sense that the system we're used to making use of as it stands, the operating system that's been working behind humanity is being threatened. The machine itself is being threatened. The program that we have installed, this awful keep us stuck in our ways, keep repeating the cycle,
the program,
keep having the same habits.
Mckenna thing.
Yeah, that's being threatened, and it's fighting for its own survival. But we, every one of us individually, need to fight this together to move forward and to break that habit, to progress into a new stage.
And the best way to do that is to start off your progression with just yourself and little things, and then it ends up growing and snowballing, and you can deal with more and more things. But adaptation is what we do. That is the fucking human, like, that's your job. Like, that's all we do. That's the best thing that we do. That's something that we've mastered over generations and eons. Like, that's
what we fucking do best, baby.
Yes, that's what we do
and
best.
We are at the fucking finish line right now.
Stop that and cut it off. It seems fucking ridiculous.
This is that's it. That's the darkness before the dawn. We are at the most impressive challenge we've ever faced as a species right now. As regards this cycle, we're at the fucking finish line. We need to address that issue, the reality of that issue, that we have all these blocks in our system. That's what blocks up your chakras. That's what blocks you up, the psychological influences. It's not necessarily a biological influence or a physiological influence, because those are resulting from the psychological factors. You make decisions. That's what you do. You make decisions and you adapt. Make the decision to appropriately adapt to your scenario as it stands. Yeah. Stop fighting it. Stop fighting nature. Stop fighting spirit. Stop escaping the challenge. Face it. Take the opportunity to move forward. Do that yourself and pass it the fuck along. To share this video and like the fucking video too. Don't be an asshole. Press the like button. But share it. Share the message. Fucking speak up, step up, stand up for yourself, take responsibility.
Yeah, that's another thing too, is that one of the newer movements that kind of popped up within the last few years is the whole, like, anti-bullying thing. That, like, if one kid, you know, picks on another kid, they don't have to do it every day for a year, one time, and that's the new definition of bullying, when really that's just how kids behave and learn to socialize with each other, is that they overcome those kinds of blockages in communication because of such situations, you know, because of the stressful situations that arise from some kids being dicks and other kids not being, and then it kind of evolves from there. When I was younger, bullying was like, it was a chronic thing. It was like same people, same two kids, victim and, you know, attacker or whatever, and it was a chronic thing, and it was all the time or every day for an extended period of time, and that causes a lot of fucking damage and is just an awful thing to do. And of course those bully types of kids are like 99% of the time they're victims at home, and so they don't know what they're doing. And I feel like that whole movement has kind of a skewed view of the reality of what's happening there. It's like you have to dig deeper. You can't just, you know, put something out there like, this is a movement, we have to stop it. Like, I mean, I get it. I'm not talking about, like, I'm not saying bullying is good or anything. I'm just saying the definitions of things have now just been changed overnight, and it's screwing everybody up. Something
that Blaire White had actually referred to in one of her videos I watched recently, wherein people are saying that, well, we're using all of these excuses to just be racist and just be sexist, but it's like really what we've done is exacerbated the definition of racism, sexism, right, bullying, whatever it is, to the point where it can be defined as anything now. Like any fucking thing that anybody does can be defined as any one of these things.
Exactly. Definitions change overnight, and then everyone is just, that puts everybody at the level of confused. Exactly. And that's where we're starting from.
It's the Tower of Babel
point
scenario.
Of confusion,
where,
you know?
we don't know what the fuck we're talking about anymore. And again, language definition is what makes you happen. You are a definition, essentially.
And words are important for communication, I think. And so to just strip words of all their importance and say, well, that's bad, it's a construct. Like, yes, it is construct. It helps us relate to each other and communicate. And that's not a negative thing, inherently negative thing.
This idea that anything that's a social construct is like, we want to tear down the walls. Well, we get it. Yeah,
that
we're
makes
here.
sense,
We're
but
here
you're
to tear
looking
down
at the
the
wrong
walls, but you're not. Yeah, you're fighting the facade. Yeah. You're not. You're being distracted. Totally. Most all of you are being fucking distracted. This is where the fight is. This is where it counts. Right here, realizing, being lucid, being aware, making appropriate decisions as regards the responsibilities you have immediately facing you.
Yeah, look beyond the definitions of, you know,
language is our operating system. Definition is what makes us happen. We can't
it's okay.
be destroying that.
Like, it's all right that we need certain labels to describe certain feelings and actions. It's okay. They're just, in a way, I guess you could make the argument that the words are important and they have a certain amount of power, but then on the other side, they're just words.
They have the power that you give them.
Exactly, they're just words. Like, there is no need to fucking fall apart.
Are these words defining what you are? Like,
no.
Are you allowing for that to be the controlling factor in your life? Does that take the responsibility for you?
Yeah, totally.
Again, it's like Candace and I were talking about in relationships, people who are going to say that, well, they feel a certain way and so they can't help it. They had to you know, like people who cheat on their spouses or what have you, is we're feeling a certain way and it makes us happy. So what, your feelings take the responsibility now?
You're not responsible.
You're not responsible.
Right.
It's whatever you feel is taking the wheel.
It's the same thing as, oh, I have I have the hall pass that my principal gave me, where anytime I have anxiety, I can just leave class.
Right.
Like, that's a real thing.
That's a real detriment.
That's a real thing. And so all you have to do is say, "Oh, I have anxiety," and then you're out. Like, all of a sudden, you're not responsible anymore for classes that you have to attend at a certain time every day and do certain assignments because, well, I didn't do the assignment because I was having anxiety. It's like you just...
You're applying your sense of discipline to being undisciplined.
Yeah, basically.
You guys fucking just, it's warped. It's backwards. And this is where we can wake up and realize it, that we are seeing everything backwards.
Hopefully.
We're doing it. We're making it happen. You and I
We're not making shit happen,
We're making
bro.
going.
Wait, no.
Boom. Hitting that motherfucking rock. Boom.
Yeah, we're super good at high fives.
Yeah, we're very well trained. Okay, so
right.
now we're gonna move on to the TED Talk.
How long
taking
is
up
it?
too much time.
It's only 11.
It's only 11 minutes, and then we'll get. There's a few topics in it that I want to touch on.
I've never seen this before.
Yeah, we've never watched it. I've seen like 1 minute of it.
When I was about 8 years old, I first heard about something called climate change or global warming. Apparently that was something humans had created by our way of living. I was told to turn off the lights to save energy and to recycle paper to save resources. I remember thinking that it was very strange that humans, who are an animal species among others, could be capable of changing the Earth's climate. Because if we were, and if it was really happening, we wouldn't be talking about anything else. As soon as you turn on the TV, everything would be about that. Headlines, radio, newspapers. You would never read or hear about anything else. As if there was a world war going on. But no one ever talked about it. If burning fossil fuels was so bad that it threatened our very existence, how could we just continue like before? Why were there no restrictions? Why wasn't it made illegal? To me, that did not add up. It was too unreal. So when I was 11, I became ill. I fell into depression. I stopped talking and I stopped eating. In 2 months, I lost about 10 kilos of weight. Later on, I was diagnosed with Asperger's syndrome, OCD, and selective mutism. That basically means I only speak when I think it's necessary. And that was one of those moments.
I wonder if they're chopping it up a little bit, because I didn't...
She said that she was diagnosed with selective mutism. That, again, is selective mutism. Selective mutism is an odd and very specific diagnosis that, in combination with things such as Asperger's, autism, and...
It's kind of part of the package when you're talking about autism spectrum and
right,
Asperger's.
and her particular ideology and considerations, her particular personality, this fits the profile of what we'd call a purpler. And they are to be regarded as heavily influential, very important assets. These are the people that are going to step up, that can step up and do a lot of damage in this battle, that can set us straight. These are the contingency effort. It is the contingency front for the initiative. These are the people who are here to step the fuck up and make a serious difference. Many of them have been dissuaded. Many of them have been distracted. Most all of them that we've come across have been essentially turned toward the side of wanting to confuse, wanting to dissuade, wanting to damage, wanting to cause
that's working.
disarray. And this is one of them. It would seem, from what we can tell, it would seem that this is one of them that actually got it right. That actually broke through that facade, stepped up and did some fucking damage. And the whole world is fighting to put her down. The whole world is fighting to stop her from helping us.
Well, no, she's got a lot of people backing her up, too.
Right, she does. It's a serious and she's on the fucking front line of this right now. We need to be supporting this girl. We need to be supporting her efforts. We need to be supporting her message. Like, who gives a flying fuck if you guys don't think that it's going to be that bad? Well, why not just kind of lessen it? Why not work towards lessening the blow?
Right.
Why not work towards making it better, regardless of how bad you think it is,
Yeah,
regardless of how long you think
it's going to take? As a relevant argument. Well, it won't be that bad.
Yeah,
like,
there is no relevant argument against being beneficial to the planet and against being beneficial to ourselves and our own progress.
Which is so funny, too, because a lot of experts have said that on top of being beneficial for the environment and the human race in general, is that these things could be also economically beneficial for everybody as part of new industries and businesses and society and the economy in general. So again, why is that bad? Like, I just don't get the argument that it's not going to be that bad, so we might as well just not do anything. Like, why not?
The damage is already done, or it's not going to be that bad, or it's way too far in the future. It's like, no, there's no excuse. There is no relevant excuse or argument for not making actual progress, not doing what is is correct.
Maybe 10 or 15 years ago, there would be an argument about it's a very complex situation, we couldn't afford to do blah 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 blah, but no, it's 2019.
Yeah,
I mean, it would be a simple solution to just kind of replace. Like, I always love when, again, going back to the obsolescence, the theme of obsolescence, the example that when in the 90s, or probably before that, when compact discs were invented and came out and became more plentiful, which means that they were cheaper, we didn't just protest and fight to keep cassette tape factories open just because of the sake of those people's jobs. You know what I'm saying? Like, we stopped making them because they're obsolete technology, and over time it dwindled, and you couldn't find a manufacturing factory that makes cassette tapes because they weren't in any of the cars anymore, and there was no point in making them. But you never heard anybody come out and say, what about those people's jobs? I can't believe it. They're not making cassette tapes? Oh, man, that's a shame. We need to elect a president that's for cassette tapes. You know what I'm saying? You never heard, and that's just one example, but you get the picture. It's the most ridiculous thing. It's like, some things do need to be obsolete and will live. It's cool.
There's obviously the front line in this battle as regards the environment is going to be against the use of fossil fuels. It's simple. It's not something that we should be protesting against. It's not. Run it over in your mind as many fucking times as you need to. It's very simple.
It seems
we are damaging the planet by using these. We no longer need to. We have the resources and the efficiency, the technology available to alter that. Why the fuck not? Why not?
Yeah.
It's very, very, very simple, and in fact, we were at a point now where it would be easy.
I think so.
It's a transition we can make fucking seamlessly.
And would benefit many people if done in the right way, and could even benefit those people that are so afraid that they're going to lose money. Again, if you organize it correctly and make it work in such a way as to fit into the already existing, economy, then it's not going to tear down the fucking economy just because some new shit was invented. Give me a fucking break.
You can maneuver it. We're smarter than that.
And
we're intelligent beings. We can figure out a way to make this work without distress occurring.
Another
that's the challenge you're facing.
Movements that's popped up is the anti-capitalist people, and I don't want to go too far into that. I'm not going to talk about socialism or communism. I'm just saying that capitalism in its basic form is competition in a healthy manner. Yes, in a healthy manner, competition makes costs and prices low and quality go up. So that's it. We have a very corrupt form of capitalism that we use in the United States today, which I think is fucked up.
What we have is a monopoly complex.
Yes, it's awful, and it's not true capitalism. So when I see people railing against, capitalism is evil and all that stuff, it's actually not. It's just that we have corrupted it, and it's been used to serve a few people.
It's the same fucking thing as people saying money is the root of all evil because the Bible said so. Well, guess what? The Bible said the love of money is the root of all evil. It's the value behind the aspects.
Yeah, exactly. It's way more complex. It's the reason,
it's the purpose, it's the consideration, the intention that matters.
Totally. Intentions do matter.
Let's move this. We're going to skip ahead on the TED Talk just to a random spot, see what she has to say, then we'll move on to the speech.
Tens of thousands of dead people, and whole nations leveled to piles of torn down buildings. You would see some restrictions, but no. And no one talks about it.
We're talking
about it. There are no emergency meetings, no headlines.
We're talking about it.
No breaking news. No one is acting as if we were in a crisis. Even most climate scientists or green politicians keep on flying around the world, eating meat and dairy.
It really seems almost like being in a state of shock. Like we're facing this dramatic alteration in our lifestyle, in our way of being. A dramatic advancement, a dramatic progress, and the challenge is immense.
Yeah, it's too scary.
So it's almost seeming like we're in a state of shock where we're just in denial.
There's a lot of big changes that have happened over the generations.
Look at the Industrial Revolution.
Exactly, that were scary and were challenging, but like we made it through.
Yeah.
And this, I feel like, is not such a huge hurdle.
Yeah, and here's a spectacular idea, by the way. Who was the dude who raised it? I can't remember who it was who raised it, but he said that, what if aliens were to attack and humanity was suddenly united against a common enemy from elsewhere? It was one of our presidents. Nixon said that.
Was it Nixon or Reagan? I don't know.
I think it was Reagan, but who gives a shit? We're not history buffs, but whomever said it was absolutely correct. Now, if we as humanity require a common enemy to fight against,
that can be arranged.
That's it.
Yeah, right. That is happening right now.
It's available. This crisis, this problem, as regards our psychological state of inference, and as regards our natural, our concerns as regards nature itself. Like, we have an enemy fighting against us, and it's within us. It is us.
Right.
And we can combat it, and we can make real progress together. And all we have to do is do it yourself, individually, and then be supportive of others. Spread it around. Yes, for this you can go ahead. You got a free pass to proselytize this. This is a good idea.
Yeah, proselytize environmentalism. Did you...
If you're real.
I think I brought this up in our last video, but that study that recently came out that said that men were like 70% less likely to recycle and use reusable shopping bags because they didn't want to look gay.
Yeah, and the recycling. Right, you said the recycling thing. Yeah.
Wow.
Because they're going to look gay, and why do they think that way?
Crybabies.
Why do they think that way? Because they've been conditioned to think that being gay is wrong. Something's wrong with it. Why? Where does that come from? It's like the whys are always going to lead you down the line, down the rabbit hole, to the end where it's just somebody's stupid idea, a ghost from the past haunting us.
Which is ironic because if you came up to me and told me that you didn't want to look gay so you don't recycle, then I would think that you're a fucking whiny crybaby. So it's kind of ironic that it kind of works. I don't want to be feminine and look like I'm recycling. Like, okay, well then you should just go cry in a corner.
See, we have all of these things being brought to our attention. We have the thing as regards Donald Trump being our president and how he's fight to make America great again, which is pretty much just saying let's move backwards, a reset to where we were before, which isn't terrible idea considering that we were doing better before, but it's
No, see, I think that's a mythological thing too that people bring up. Like, oh my gosh, the rant. Like you said, it's these movements that pop up that make you think that everything is way worse than it used to be.
Mm-hmm.
But if you look at the numbers, like in terms of sexism, 20 years ago, huge difference. In terms of racism, 50 years ago, like, oh my God, violence is down. Numbers are down for violence.
This is what I was trying to say where it comes to when I said that racism is not really real as we know it. It's reduced. It's reduced so much that it's no longer a real issue in common everyday life so much. You're not going to run across racists every fucking step you take in your daily life. But we overcompensate by hugely exacerbating the problem and just making it worse in our visit.
Yeah, don't get us wrong. It's absolutely a problem. But I just think
in some places,
in perspective of the last generation or two or three, that we've actually done a pretty good job of cleaning that shit up, and so can something more pressing maybe take the forefront here? Something else that needs to be cleaned up. Literally, literally the ocean and the air and our water. Like, we literally need to clean that up.
Let's fucking take care of business, people, for real. This is something that we can be proud of doing. This is something that you can own and feel proud of doing. Do you feel good using anxieties to run away from every trouble you face? Do you feel good having to fight to label yourself in some proper way that you see as being? Do you feel good about any of these things, or are you just angry? Does it make you feel bad? There's a reason why it makes you feel bad. Feeling is the language of the soul. Yourself is trying to get a fucking message across to you. There's a reason why we feel so fucking desperate about everything.
It's a signal to act. Yes, it's your brain telling you this is something going on. You need to address it.
Right, and there's a reason why so many people would fight so hard in so many ridiculous ways to divert attention from this or to disregard what she has to say.
Yeah, there's a lot of distractions floating around there, and people just kind of grab whatever is in front of them at whatever moment.
All right, let's touch at this. This is going to be watch Greta Thunberg's full speech to UN or to world leaders at UN Climate Action Summit. 5 minutes.
Posted by what, PBS?
Posted by PBS NewsHour.
PBS NewsHour.
Was a lonely event a little over a year ago, and in the intervening time, you have sparked the interest of millions, literally, of children around the globe, demanding action for climate change. What's your message to world leaders today?
God, can you imagine how scary that would be?
My message is that we'll be watching you.
Straight up. Who?
This
By
is
the way,
all wrong.
who do you think she's referring to? We'll be watching you. Who's we? Think about it. She knows what's happening.
I shouldn't be up here. I should be back in school on the other side of the ocean. Yet you all come to us young people for hope. How dare you? You have stolen my dreams and my childhood with your empty words. And yet I'm one of the lucky ones. People are suffering. People are dying. Entire ecosystems are collapsing. We are in the beginning of a mass extinction, and all you can talk about is money and fairy tales of eternal economic growth. How dare you?
Okay, so when I first saw clips of this, and I thought about when we finally get around to addressing this directly, it's kind of like she's being overtly dramatic. There's so many signals and cues in her behavior that are kind of disheartening, that make it feel as though, you know, she's putting on a show. But watching it here now, it's like, and from the perspective that I gleaned from the experimental phase this past month, it's like I seriously have tears welling up. Like, she's angry, she's pissed off, and she's getting a chance to speak on it, and she's blowing the fuck up, and god damn it, I back her 100,000%.
Why shouldn't she? If she feels angry about it and passionately about it, why should she not? You know what I mean? Like, so maybe some other 17-year-olds feel passionately and are angry about other things. That doesn't mean we discount their opinions out of hand because they're younger. There's plenty of people that are passionate about different subjects and issues and that have anger towards different bigger things in the world, and we don't just count on our hands, oh, well, how many years have you been here? Does that make you credible or not? Like, she's allowed to have her fucking feelings. So she's just saying her feelings.
What's
the problem?
The first person perspective in the hand and address this as it needs to be addressed in a realistic, lucid manner. This is a part of our soul getting a chance to speak up, finally breaking through the illusion and getting a chance to speak out in what it considers to be truly important, our home, our life, our entire existence, everything we've ever built, everything that's ever mattered to anybody adds up to this, amounts to this particular topic of inquiry. And I want to say, you know, to the people, anybody who's trying to distract themselves or other people from it, anybody who is trying to in any way disregard that simple consideration, how fucking dare you? How dare you? How dare you fucking sit there and bullshit about her age, about, you know, whether she's controlled by the Rothschilds or whatnot. Listen to what she's fucking saying. Jesus fucking Christ, have a fucking brain in your head. Have some self-respect.
It's the message that matters.
Alright, let's go.
For more than 30 years, the science has been crystal clear.
You know, in 30 years, we've been watching it.
How dare you continue to look away and come here saying that you're doing enough when the politics and solutions needed are still nowhere in sight. You say you hear us and that you understand the urgency. But no matter how sad and angry I am, I do not want to believe that. Because if you really understood the situation and still kept on failing to act, then you would be evil, and that I refuse to believe.
Damn straight, man.
Yeah, but there are lots of evil people running around, right? I mean...
No. Nobody's evil.
Like,
there is no such
pedophiles
thing
and
as
shit? Like,
evil.
Come on, man.
Pedophiles and shit, I mean, they have some serious fucking problems that need to be addressed, and honestly, I'm going to say that I would take them out back and shoot them, but that's just the thing. We are a collective person. Humanity is a collective person, and we have very fucking serious psychological issues that need to be addressed, and they present themselves as certain parts of us. Now, if you have an illness in your body, say you have an infection in your leg, what are you going to do? You're going to get antibiotics, you're going to use whatever you can to combat that, you're going to put it down, erase it, destroy the infection. So what do? If we have an infection in our overall collective personage? We need to be addressing the illness, not the symptoms. Now, I'm not saying take everybody out back and shoot them, but I am saying that there is no real evil. If there are people that are committing acts of evil, then we need to do what's necessary. I'm not going to give any directions on that. I'm going to say we have measures by which to combat that. We have prisons that can be made use of appropriately, rather than locking up people who are fighting for natural substances. That's where pedophiles belong. That's where murderers belong.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I get it. I mean,
but we lock up people. We lock up essentially innocent people. People that are probably better than most of the people running the fucking prison. We lock them up for the sake of making money. Money. That's it. That's what's happening. Like she said, you know, it's fucking. You're gonna talk about economic growth and shit. Like you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. You don't know what you're talking about.
That was the other thing that one of the other guys that was talking about Greta. The thing on his list that came up after the how old is she and blah 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 was the GDP of the United States.
Yeah.
He's like, He's like, if we help the environment, then our economy's going to collapse and we'll have nothing left of our society. Like, how do you even come to that conclusion? It's so crazy.
Right. You know, cleaning up the environment couldn't be, you'd say, maybe something akin to a job?
Which
a job that's worthwhile that people can be proud of doing.
We've already kind of started on the path. It's just, I think it's harder to see the ending of this path.
Do you people want to be fucking real? Do you want to do something real with your lives? Do you want to be something important? Do you want to actually make a difference and hit hard? Take the hard path. Take that challenge and say, you know what? I'll make that dramatic change. I can do that. Step up and do it. Like, I was stamped out. I had nothing life. I was totally destroyed. I've told you guys this story over and over again. I was in a worthless fucking just done shoot me position. And I got a chance and I turned the shit fucking around, and yeah, I'm still fighting. I'm still struggling. I'm still in trouble, but I'm fighting like hell. And I'm stepping up and I'm doing this. I've got my most amazing, beautiful, wonderful partner here with me fighting alongside me. We're actually doing something that is awesome, you know, making a dramatic change in our lives.
I know other people too.
Yeah, we have many, many other people. The network building here that is fucking enormous, and I wish I could go ahead and give a shout out to all of the people that we work with directly, but there's just too fucking many of them, and they know who they are. We love you guys. You are impressive as fuck. And you're making a big difference. You're doing a lot of good here, and we're gonna succeed. We're gonna be successful. We've got people like her backing us. When she says we'll be watching you, she's talking about the fucking initiative. She's talking about our people who are here to make this happen. So, you know what? I think you got anything you want to say in closing?
No, I think that was a very impassioned speech. I love it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think we've covered all the bases. I couldn't think of any other arguments against, you know, poor Greta here. But I hope that, you know, this whole thing, I worry about her personally. Like, I wonder what her life is like now after this whole viral thing, and like, I don't know. I mean, like she said, she should be at school. She should be doing normal things like a normal girl. And so I hope that itself was not sacrificed for the purposes of what she did there.
You want to talk about abuses suffered? Put yourself in her shoes and think about the fact that she feels this wholeheartedly. She sees this happening. She understands it.
Yeah, she's not 10. She's 17.
And she's not seeing that change happening like it should be. If you want to be respectful, take her lead. Take the lead. Take her cue. Yeah. You want to be an abusive party? Disregard her. Disrespect her. Find some reason, some imaginary reason, to disregard the fact that she's scared and she's pissed and she has valid reasoning to be.
I'm with you.
Eyes on the fucking ball, people. I think that's going to be it for this one. Thank you all for watching. Thank you for sticking around through our exacerbated series here. I can't think of a better word.
There was loops and turns, and it was fantastic.
Yes, our investigation was fun, and we'll be launching others such as this, but we're going to be addressing what we think are the primary issues at hand here shortly, and of course the other things that I mentioned. We'll provide all the links and everything in the motherfucking description. Love you guys, every one of you, even if you're sitting there thinking, fuck them. We love you. We have absolute faith in your ability to take on this challenge and make that fucking difference. Every one of you.
You know what? All you have to do, go to like a thrift store or something, find a fucking jacket, and then you'll be excellent.
Your age plus 1%.
Do whatever you want. What is it?
Your age plus 1% more attractive. And you know what? In your case, more excellent. Much more excellent.
It is excellent. I think, it's uncomfortable, but it looks rad.
Yeah, it does.
Well, thank you for my jacket. we got it.
Got it. All right. Love you guys. Kila Salai, Terve Uni Siari. Forward together, all as one. Namaste.